So this is pretty exciting. Today we're going to be going over a clone of one of the highly sought after discontinued Mugler fragrances. That one is Pure Malt. You guys may remember this, Pure Havane, Ultra Zest, and Crypto Mint. Those are some of the big names that have been discontinued and you just can't get them anymore. And it's a shame because when you take a look back at some of these Muglers, I think for some of us, I know myself included, I kind of didn't fully appreciate them until they were gone. It was kind of one of those deals. When these were everywhere on every discounter for $40, $50, I just didn't really give a whole lot of attention to these. I just don't know why. And now I look back and I'm very frustrated about that because now you really just can't get them anymore unless you want to pay a completely overinflated price. That is, until some clones come into play. And again, one in particular is going to be a clone of Pure Malt, and it is Starmin Nebula by Fragrance World. It's a 100 ml eau de parfum, and you can see by the coloration and the name that they are going after Pure Malt. Now, when you're doing your searching online, I will link this down below for you so you can get it directly, $29, but there's also Starmin by Fragrance World. And that one is going to be a clone of, at least what it looks like to me, the original Angel Mint by Mugler. And that one kind of has a blue color, which matches up to the bottle of the original. So again, make sure you're getting this one here. Has that kind of orange brown tint. It pretty much matches dead on to the Mugler. Or again, you can just hit that link down below. It'll take you right there and you can pick this one up. So today what we're going to be doing is I'm going to break down the smell of this, tell you how it smells, how it performs, and just how close it is to Pure Malt, and if I think this is something you should pick up. So let's get things kicked off with how this one smells. Now, if you haven't smelled this DNA before, it really is quite unique because it's a malt scent, a whiskey scent, but with a really heavy dose of a fruitiness off the top. And that's what you get from Pure Malt, and that is exactly what you get from Starmin Nebula. It's kind of a funny name, but whatever. So you're getting that fruitiness immediately, some orange, kind of a creamy sweetness, and then just this textured malt, which is kind of a sweet booziness mixing with this overall very bright whiskey. And another thing that you get in here is actually a little bit of coffee and patchouli. And that essentially ties this and Pure Malt back to the original Angel Mint DNA. So you still do get a little bit of that original in something like Pure Malt. And that original is known for the coffee, patchouli, kind of chocolatey smell. You get a little bit of that in here, although it is dialed back, and what is being brought to the forefront is this fruitiness and this malty, whiskey, fresh sweetness. So this is going to be for the boozy, sweet fragrance lover. You know, this is not a freshie. This isn't your traditional type of cologne. This is something that is going to ultimately set you apart and give you something that is unique and aside from other clones, a DNA that you probably haven't smelled in too many other places. For what it's worth, Pure Malt itself, I think, is a very original and very unique fragrance. And being that this clone follows after that DNA, it kind of also is lumped into that same category of just being different. So we'll take a look at the note breakdown here. This is according to perfumeland.co.za. And it even says on here, yeah, inspired by Pure Malt. So top notes, we have fruity notes, orange and bergamot. In the mid, we have malt, whiskey, patchouli, coffee, and cedarwood. And in the base, we have peat, vanilla, amber, and musk. So when you reference that back to Mugler's Pure Malt, it's exactly the same. Like everything here matches up. So I don't know if they literally just copied note breakdowns for this listing. I don't know if that's official from the brand. I don't really think it matters all that much because when you're talking clones, we know they don't just sit down and work with these individual ingredients to create a clone. They have machinery that does it for them and technology. So it doesn't matter so much at the end of the day. However, it is kind of worth noting. And to highlight those notes, again, you get that fruitiness, you get that malty whiskey, coffee, chocolatey sweetness, a little bit of a kind of a woodiness, some vanilla, that sort of thing. It is a delicious scent. What I like about this in particular is it kind of leans in the gourmand direction almost, you know, just giving you a little bit of that kind of delicious, delectable type of smell, you know, something that really has you hooked from opening to dry down. And it's funny because I actually just wore Pure Malt the other day. I ended up picking up another bottle of it from from someone online, and I just kind of was like, all right, you know what? I've got 2 bottles now. I can afford to wear this and not feel like I'm completely burning through the last of what I have. And so I wore it. And I'm like, you know what? This really upsets me because this is a scent that I love. I think it smells great. I forgot how good it was, and I can't really talk about it to you guys because you just can't get it online. So long as this one remains relatively available and has a pretty nice consistent stock here on discounters going forward, this will be something that I can now toss into some videos because I really do like this DNA. I think it brings something new to the table, even though this is obviously a clone, but the original Pure Malt 2009 release, there's just nothing else out there like that. So let's go ahead and talk about performance. This is usually a pretty important factor, although maybe not as much here because you're talking $29 versus probably 200 plus on eBay. You just might take the worst performing one either way. However, I gotta tell you, it's not really the case here. This is a strong performer. So like I mentioned in the beginning, it's an eau de parfum concentration. Longevity on my skin, been right around 8 hours. It's not a beast mode scent, but it's also not weak by any means either. And for me, it's pretty well on par with Pure Malt. That one itself has never been a complete beast. Pure Havana is a much stronger one. But around 8 hours for this here in terms of longevity. Projection is also relatively strong with some warmth, with some heat. So I've been testing this here in the winter time and just indoors, 68, 70 degrees. And I would notice that when I would start to move around and get my body temperature up, this one would project heavily to the point where it could be a little bit too strong actually. So with heat, with movement, just getting your temperature worked up, this will project more. On a colder day, it will be a little bit more subdued, but I still think it would get the job done. This one also leaves a pretty substantial scent trail, so if you wear this and walk into a room and then leave the room, this is going to be hanging around in the air for a little while. Quality is also very solid. It doesn't smell cheap. To me, this doesn't really smell like a $30 scent. Not that every $30 scent has a $30 smell, right? There are a lot of fragrances out there that are in this price range that have really good quality, and this does happen to be one of them in my opinion. And personally, I think it would kind of be splitting hairs to be really critical and start comparing this one to Pure Malt in terms of quality. I really do think they're pretty close, and that is pretty surprising, and that's not something that I say often. That's not to discredit the quality of Pure Malt, and that's not to completely overinflate the quality of this one. It just really is well executed. It's smooth, it's well blended, doesn't have an alcohol blast in the opening in terms of like perfumer's alcohol. There's none of that, It just, from opening to dry down, really maintains itself well, and I think that's pretty admirable, and I have no issues in terms of quality or really any aspect of this one. It's been more than impressive. Going into it, I gotta say, I was a little bit skeptical just because I haven't had any Pure Malt clones before and wasn't for sure how well it was going to hold up, but I was immediately impressed. The first time I smelled this one, I was like, okay, we are onto something here. This is going to be good. I can tell already. And I wore it through that first wearing and I'm like, this is good stuff. So if you are looking for a clone of Pure Malt, then I would recommend you check this one out. $29, 100 ml eau de parfum. If you already have Pure Malt, I can't see this being a bad purchase because you could just wear this and save your Pure Malt for special occasions. At the end of the day, they're not making it anymore. It's only getting more expensive unless you have a ton of them and you can afford to wear it as you please and never run out, theoretically speaking. But for a lot of guys, I would just say, hey, pick this one up. And if you don't have Pure Malt, but you want to know what the hype is about, you want to have that DNA, still you should go with this. I just think it's a win-win all the way around. So that's pretty much going to do it for me. My thoughts on Star Men Nebula by Fragrance World. Impressive. It really shocked me in the best way possible. So $29, $30, 100 ml. My guess is that it will be a little bit limited, maybe a little bit sporadic in terms of its stock. So if you want one, you're interested, I would pick one up now while you can. I don't know when they're going to restock it again, and it's worth having around for the winter season. That's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.